Moving on to perspective now, and Greenpeace is sounding the alarm over what it calls an environmental and public health disaster in Ghana. And the culprit, they say, is fast fashion. Huge mounds of textiles are piling ever higher in the informal dump sites in the capital city, Accra, as well as along its beaches. The clothing is imported and meant to be sold at the city's largest second-hand market, but it's of such bad quality that stall owners are unable to sell it and have to throw it away. Well, to tell us more about the problem and how we can solve it, Sam Quashie-Idun, the head of investigations at Greenpeace Africa, joins us live. Thank you very much for talking to France 24. To start off, could you tell us exactly where these clothes are coming from and in what quantity?
Yeah, Carice, thank you so much for having me. So in terms of the quantity, so I think it's important to note that every week, Ghana's largest second-hand clothing market called Kantamanto Market, as you rightly mentioned, receives approximately 1,500 tons of second-hand clothing every week. And, these clothes are actually coming from the global north mainly. We're talking about the UK, we're talking about Europe, and we're talking about North America as well. And I think what we found most concerning is that every week as well, approximately 500,000 items of clothing end up in Ghana's open spaces. So this is a big public health disaster, as you rightly mentioned, and we were very concerned by those findings.
And your investigation found that as well as these clothes being mostly made of plastic, some of them are actually being burned to heat water at public wash houses. What kinds of effects does that have on people's health?
Yes, thank you, Carice. So, we identified, so Old Fadama is an informal settlement not too far from Kantamanto Market that has around 80,000 residents living in the area. And so there's these public wash houses where people bathe and fulfill their hygiene needs. And we basically identified that, yeah, textile waste was being burnt to fuel the hot water in those wash houses. And that prompted us to do some air sampling to kind of see exactly what pollutants and toxins that people are inhaling as a result of the burning of that. And yeah, what we found was very concerning. We're talking about, indoor levels of benzene, which is a known carcinogenic substance. We also identified styrene, which is toxic to human reproduction. Also, many polyaromatic hydrocarbons, which are also cancerous with chronic exposure. And just to go back, just to kind of give your viewers an idea of how dangerous this is, the benzene levels we found inside those wash houses were nearly 200 times higher than European recommended, standards. So, the air that community members are breathing is very toxic.
And it's not just this public health issue, it's also, I mean, we're seeing pretty shocking images on our screens of those piles on the beaches. It's also hampering the work of local fishermen, is that right?
Correct. And, I want people to really picture just being on a beach and not even walking on sand. During the research trip, we were there in a community area called Jamestown, where the beach is, where you're seeing in those pictures. And it was just piles and piles of clothing. We spoke to fishermen who, go fishing, and this is severely impacting, their livelihoods and their industry. When they are throwing their nets into the oceans, they are catching waste, as well as fish. And we also spoke to fish sellers who then collect this fish from the fishermen, and they're also having to, remove fashion waste and plastic from the fish that they're about to sell. So this is really affecting local livelihoods in a very concerning way.
And what about the sellers at the market? What happens to them if they can't sell the clothes that they've imported and they're actually at a loss?
Well, this is the thing. Yeah, so we spoke to a lot of stallholders and market sellers from Kantamanto Market, and this is something that is very frustrating for them. This is their livelihoods. A lot of them pay, a large amount of money to receive these bales of clothing, and the fact that the stallholders we spoke to said, around 60% of the clothes that they have bought on the day that we, while we're doing our research, was completely unsellable, and this is because the quality is so bad. We're talking about clothes that are old-fashioned, clothes that have holes in them, clothes that are of poor quality, clothes that are also not even suitable for Ghana's weather. And so they're really making losses when they buy these bills of clothes and can't really sell the majority of them. And so, yeah, this is very concerning because, this is their livelihoods and they should be able to be receiving clothes that are good quality that they can then sell on to those who need them.
Your report says fast fashion exposes the neo-colonial mindset. Could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to neocolonialism, unfortunately, with this report, we're seeing that essentially Ghana is being seen as a dumping ground. There's no reason why countries in the global north should be sending bad quality products to Ghana. Ghana doesn't have the infrastructure to deal with this, unfortunately, and this is why we're seeing beaches and lagoons and landfill sites, sorry, covered in textile waste. So it shows that there's really a public health disaster unfolding in Ghana at the moment. And so, yeah, so we really need to, demand for better quality clothes to enter the country. And so that's why, we've never called for an outright ban of secondhand clothes because it's so vital to Ghana's economy. And as you said, the market sellers rely on these exports for their livelihoods. So we're really calling for better quality clothes to enter the country.
Well, I wanted to ask you more about the solutions you see to this, because toppling the fast fashion industry isn't going to be something that happens overnight. What else needs to be put in place?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, Caris. And I think that when it comes to this issue, we really need, first and foremost, the Ghanaian government to be stricter with the types of quality clothes we receive. So we're really calling for a ban of what we call dead waste, which is clothes that are of poor quality, clothes that have no resale value, and that are completely unsellable. We're also looking at something we call EPR schemes, which is extended producer responsibility, and also to kind of implement some sort of polluter pays principle, just to kind of hold fast fashion companies responsible for the lifespan or the life cycle of their products.
All right, well, we wish you all the best with that endeavour. Thank you very much, Sam Quashie-Idun, the Head of Investigations from Greenpeace Africa, for joining us.